know. Secrets start in your heart to slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know.
Okay, hey guys, good morning. It's like 7:15 here. Anyways, after my husband left, I figured I'd come do a live because I saw this last night and there's a few things we're going to go over with. But first of all, good morning, Lilith. Good morning, Ben. How are you? That's good. I'll just answer for you. Anyways, so this, of course, is the Kansas City three men that had died in the backyard, which was Ricky Johnson, of course, Clayton McGreeney, and of course, oh my goodness, why am I forgetting all of a sudden? David Harrington. There we go. All of a sudden, my brain just went south on me. But anyways, so this one's going to be kind of very interesting if you guys have not seen this one yet, and I'm going to show you a couple more. Like I said, I saw this last night after me and Travis were talking about it, and he had asked if they had gone to the prosecutors, and I was like, well, that the one mother had said Monday, but Travis had thought it was like yesterday, and I was like, no, the lady said Monday, but it ended up being yesterday. I'm on Indiana time. Yeah, I know you guys are like 10:18 already. 7-8, yeah, 10:18 already. But anyways, so I know this is early in a sense for whenever I typically do a live and stuff like that, but whatever. I just figured I'll just get up. My husband left for work. I'm just gonna go shower and get my day started. And but anyways, I'm just gonna play this. I'm just gonna play this one because this one, if you haven't seen it, it's, well, I mean, you're gonna hear it for yourself, really. So I'm just gonna do that. Make this one, I guess, bigger. I'll put myself right there on there. This one, honestly.
But prosecutors met with the families of the three victims today. And we're going to talk to Ricky Johnson's family about that meeting in just a moment. But first, News Nation's national correspondent Alex Capriello has been way out front on this story. He's live now in Kansas City. So do you have any confirmations on this story that that Jordan Willis has checked into rehab?
Yeah, it was one source of mine that I've met here in Kansas City who knows Jordan from early high school days was the first person to actually tell me that yesterday. And I've been working very hard to speak to other sources, trying to get that individually confirmed. And I'll tell you this, all of the people that I've been speaking to, a lot of high school classmates and also who knew Jordan from college, this is all they're talking about. This is something that's new to them. But actually independently confirming it, I have not been able to, but it is something that was shared with me early on yesterday.
I'm just getting news coming in, breaking as we're speaking, Alex. So bear with me for 1 second. Our local Nexstar station in that area is confirming that a source close to the family indeed says that he's checked into rehab. So now it's not just multiple media sources, right, your source, but also the Nexstar. I think we've got enough sources now to right, fairly confirm that he's in rehab. You did get a chance also to speak to the cousin of one of the victims, of Clayton McGreeney's cousin. I think his name is Caleb. What did Caleb know, and, right, and what did he share with you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Caleb is very, very distraught, as any family member might be, because this was just an unexpected death to happen to him. He says Clayton was like his brother. He was cousins with him, but they were like brothers. They were like this. And so to have something like this happen to him and his family is just devastating. He was actually showing up at the Platte County Prosecutor's office, where the other parents of these three victims were told to go today for a meeting with the prosecutor, but he wasn't allowed into that room because it was specifically for parents only. Even still, he's really hurting about this because he feels like he knows what happened, something that the rest of the country is surmising what happened, which is drug use, abuse, and overdosing. And he says he knows a lot about Jordan Willis, the fact that he goes back all the way to high school. He knows the drug habits that happened within this circle of friends, and that he often says that Jordan was a supplier for that. Of course, this is an allegation from Caleb. This is not something that's been independently confirmed from law enforcement, but he says he has a theory about what happened, and he thinks that Jordan is responsible. Take a listen. A lot of times I'm hearing that David, Clayton, and Ricky were like brothers. Jordan was kind of off on the side.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Jordan's a chemist, bro.
Jordan's what?
Jordan's a chemist. They all knew him as that. It was easy for them to go have fun, but he made a mistake. Jordan was the chemist. He's a scientist, right? He does what he needs to do. Now, to use my cousin, my best friend, as a guinea pig? No.
What about Alex Lee? What do you know about him?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any idea that he might have brought drugs?
Hell
No.
no. Jordan had him. Jordan was one.
So you don't think any more attention should be paid on Alex Lee?
Alex Lee is a good man. He's a good man. Alex Lee is a solid. He was one of their best friends forever. Jordan is somebody that is known from high school as like creating drugs for people to make them feel better in certain situations. Okay, well, you want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you, and handing them out. At this point, the country knows what's gonna happen, right? What the toxicology reports are what they're gonna reveal. We all know that. Okay. Who is the one that gave it to them? And who is the one that needs to be held responsible? Where did it come from? The police are doing their job. If it takes time, it takes time. I will never tell them they're not doing what they should be doing. They're doing the best they can. It takes time because you want it to be correct at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I hope is when at the end of the day it comes out correct.
And when you think about it, there's a difference between Jordan and the three men. Those guys had relationships, they had children, but I keep hearing that Jordan was a single guy who had a house, who had access to drugs. And so it would make sense that those men might go there and use drugs recreationally. Of course, we don't know that for sure until a toxicology report comes out. But all of my sources are saying just about the same thing, that this is very normal activity when surrounded by Jordan.
One other thing I want to ask you about, our next to our station, the local station there, they found out that at least one person in that house was up until 2 a.m. So Sunday into Monday morning, up late into 2 a.m. Monday morning, at least once, which is fascinating given all of these, the timeline of events. But Alex Weimer Lee, I think he calls himself Alex Lee, says he left at midnight, everything was fine. You were able to talk with Alex Lee. Did he shed any more light on that or anything else? The fact that apparently someone or all of them were up until 2 a.m. or anything else?
I have not been able to talk to Alex Lee. I've been trying to talk to Alex Lee. That's been my number one mission while here, because I know that he was one of the very last people, if not the last person, to see these four men, Jordan and those three that are now deceased. And so obviously his testimony, his story is going to be critical to this. But I did try to stop by his house that we found through background checks, knocking on his door. You could tell it's most likely his house. Kansas City Chiefs flags hanging everywhere. And the addresses matches up to our typical backgrounding system. But I cannot find the guy. Really hard to find him. We do know that he also has a lawyer. I'm told from my sources that it seems like he is willing to talk soon because he knows that there is a lot of bad mouthing that's happening about him. Because as you heard me mention to Caleb, is there any possibility that Alex Lee brought the drugs? They know that that could be a possibility, a theory out there. And so I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I'm trying to find Alex Lee. But from Caleb's perspective, he does not believe that Alex Lee is responsible for this. He believes that Jordan is the one that's actually making these drugs and providing them to his friends.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And
okay, so 1 second here. Okay, let me just go back over to the questions. I was on a different page there. Chemist is in trouble. Well, I wouldn't get it. I'll play the next clip in just a minute here. So basically yesterday, I had showed a video, different videos, and it was of Alex Weimer Lee. Now, Alex Weimer Lee was the fifth person that was there. Now, I showed him because on a couple of the Good Friends Facebooks, they had done basically, we're watching the game, the Chiefs game, and We're doing like a celebration of life for David Harrington. And so, during that whole video that was on the Facebook, they were chanting, David, David. And as I was looking, I was like, wait a second, that's Alex Warmer Lee. And to me, I know that there's a history back in 2005 and 2012 with Alex Warmer Lee with drug paraphernalia and etc. like that. Kind of like what the guy said in this video here, Caleb McGreeney, is that he was like a good stand-up type of guy. And so I never really felt it was so much like there was a little piece of me that was kind of going, but I was more leaning towards Jordan and the fact that possibly he concocted something, being a scientist and stuff like that. Like most people, when they heard that right away, would kind of think like, he's a scientist. He's probably making some sort of concoction drug, and it won't shock me if that, of course, turns out to be true. Because as Caleb's saying here, in high school, well, actually, let me just finish off with Alex Warmer Lee. So when I saw him, at the celebration, that told me that, look, that guy's not guilty. I mean, he said he left and he was not the last person to see them alive. He left at 12 or whatever. But I mean, if you really felt like you were guilty of something, I don't think that you'd be going to the celebration, of life if you felt like you had something to do with it. And I think, like, for me, my eyes were more on Jordan and the strangeness of all that. And then yesterday, like there was a Fox News thing that came out too, where they were talking about, or he was kind of talking about, like, say Jordan was in the house, he was probably warm, or the other three were outside. So basically, like, the temperature, mixture, alcohol, all that stuff, drugs, could lead to whatever. I think your heart, pumping and put you unconscious or whatever. So, again, for me, I think when I looked up Alex Weimer Lee originally, which was a couple days ago, instantly his name popped up on Facebook. And then I noticed it was like Alex Lee. And so then, okay, it was there yesterday morning. But then when I went to go try to look for it again, I couldn't seem to find it. So I don't know if Facebook was just screwing me over, or if, but I just couldn't seem to find him again. So I don't know if he put his status because, like for me, I'm trying to use common sense here and not trying to put the blame, in a sense on someone. Whereas a lot of creators and that are doing their, thumbnails that are, he was poisoned and stuff like that. And, or they're blaming, say, Alex and stuff. You know what I mean? You know how it gets heavy in the true crime world. There's good content creators that try to do it ethically as best they can. And then there's others that just ride off of a case and, for the sake of money and stuff like that. But anyways, so let me, it is crazy and disturbing, but this is going to go back now, to me. So yesterday, because he checked into rehab, meaning, hold on. It's not that he checked into rehab yesterday. He checked into rehab according to one of the friends of Willis, that he had checked into rehab. He loaded up the U-Haul, which everyone saw, and that he put his stuff in storage and then checked into rehab because, obviously this is supposedly like a wake-up call. And, basically he can't believe, basically that his friends have died and well, again, so now it's kind of going to go back full circle. So I was kind of thinking, okay, well, he's, the three outside, okay, like they took a drug, whatever was in this drug that perhaps was given by or made by Jordan, but not, of course, knowing that's just an opinion. But, whenever somebody hears chemist, scientist, all of a sudden your mind's just kind of thinking, okay, it's like, did he come up with a concoction? Like, did he make his own concoction? But if you listen to what Caleb was saying, he's saying back in high school that he basically was like, whatever, I think it was like the pill guy. Like, you just, hey, how are you feeling? Not feeling well? Here, let me make something for you. you know, and it was kind of like he would create whatever concoction for that person so that, you know, maybe if they're having anxiety, here, look at, I got a special pill for you, type of thing. But so I'm gonna play the prosecutor, or the one now, because there's a couple that I don't. There's one of the videos I'll play, but I don't really like it. I feel like Ashley, you know, when somebody says that the prosecutors don't say anything about the case part of it, like the certain, you know, investigation part, and then the questions keep getting asked about it, and so it's actually the one with Ashley Banfield was kind of pissing me off, because it's like, look, like you're just wasting the 5 minutes that I'm watching right now because you keep asking her things that she clearly said that they didn't know about. But I will play that one, but I'm going to play the other one first. So let me just stop screen, and let's see. That's the Ashley one. We'll do this one with Como. Okay.
And that may indicate we have less of a mystery in this case of the 3 dead men in Kansas City. Jordan Willis, the man who lived in that home, whose story has kind of been, let's say, inconsistent. He has now checked himself into rehab.
I'll put that up there.
So that fuels an assumption, even without the toxicology, that drugs played some role in what happened here. There's another survivor who was also there that night, who has a past that is also instructive of drugs being part of this behavior. And that doesn't make the loss any less painful. It doesn't make the loss any less tragic that these young men with families are here no more, no matter what their choices were. Also today, after weeks of silence, the police finally met with the families of the deceased. What did they tell them? Let's bring in Fox 4 KC reporter Malik Johnson. He's been covering the case in Kansas City. Also joined by former FBI agent, News Nation Law and Justice contributor, Jennifer Coffindaffer. Malik, thank you for coming back. What do you know?
Of course, of course. So we know that these families met with the prosecuting attorney who will be in charge of bringing charges if this case rises to that point today. We know all 3 families were represented in this meeting. Clayton McGreeney's family, Ricky Johnson's family, and David Harrington's family. We spoke with the attorney representing the Johnson's family after they left this meeting, and they left satisfied, they said. They said finally they feel heard, that after weeks of not being able to get in contact with police, not being able to get in contact with the prosecuting attorney, they finally felt heard. And most importantly, they said that they feel as though that this is being taken seriously. I know that they had been on your show and the families had explained to us how over the last few weeks they felt as though this wasn't being taken seriously, as though this was just being looked at and looked over in a sense. But now they say, after today's meeting, that they understand why police and prosecutors have moved the way that they have. And quite frankly, they were hopeful. They were optimistic walking out of that courthouse in Platte County today, Chris.
Malik, you've been filling in the facts and details of what we know and what we don't know. The time of death is going to be instructive. Jennifer and I will talk about this. But what have you learned?
Yeah, so this is some new reporting that we actually just got to today, working with our sources to get it all confirmed. But as you say, it is so important because it goes to that timeline. When did this happen? How did this happen? And now we're learning that these 3 men, at least one of them, presumably all 3 of them, were up as early as about 2 a.m. Monday morning. So we know that this 5th person left just after midnight, and now we know that these 3 men were still up at about 2 a.m. Monday morning. So what happened between that 2 a.m. period and that 10 p.m. on Tuesday night period is going to be instructive in figuring out exactly what happened. But we do know now, and I think it's a huge thing, Chris, because the timeline is the most important thing, considering these 3 men were in the backyard for as long as they were. So how long were they actually there? And every day, we're making inroads on creating a more defined timeline as to when this happened and when they were last heard from before, of course, they went silent.
Jennifer, the idea of the witness, the man who lives in the house, first of all, being allowed to stay in the house. We don't know what they did in terms of looking at his lab equipment. Supposedly he's a chemist, a scientist who works in his house. You know, they didn't make it a crime scene. What does it mean that he is now checked into rehab?
Well, I find that interesting. I mean, certainly, as you point out, now it gives us another indicator that, of course, drugs probably led to these tragic deaths. But I find the timing a little bit interesting in terms of, is this some sort of excuse possibly that will be used to say, listen, I was out of it, even if I was home, even if I was on social media using my phones, even if I did exit it, I didn't see them because I've got a problem and I was messed up that night.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
I'm going to leave his face just like that on there. You know, I was wondering that myself. Coffin, well, pretty, I don't think she's ever not everywhere, to be honest. Because she's like everywhere all the time, like for like at least a good year now. I remember all of a sudden when she just started popping up on everything, like Court TV, just News Nation, just everywhere. And, you know, for the most part, I think that Jennifer Coffinduffer, to be honest with you, like, I mean, she has common sense. A lot of what she says, you know, like I said, is just, I like her advice, or I like it when she talks, actually, because to me, she just has common sense when talking about it. The only one that kind of threw me off was when she was talking about like Ron Logan and stuff like that, as he was still like, you know, part of it. Hi, Sin, how are you? So a couple things there. You said, how did they know that someone was up to 2 a.m.? That would have to probably be, I'm thinking, through some sort of digital, you know, device or something like that. That would probably make the most sense. Like Alex said that he left at 12, and, you know, and he said he left. Now, he said he left a couple of hours before. So that kind of makes sense, but obviously if Alex left, then how did he know a couple hours before? So there's something about that somewhere in there. And that's what I'm thinking, like texting, perhaps. Exactly. Maybe Alex had texted somebody and maybe he's the one that said, and that's why he said that he had left a couple of hours before, something like that. Now, again, so for anyone that is just coming in, I played a video at the start of this live. Basically, Caleb McGreeney is saying, hey, look, this guy, you know, Jordan Willis, in high school, he was the go-to guy. He was the guy that basically, if you had you know, an issue, like, how are you feeling? Here, let me go, you know, basically make a pill for you, concoct something for you, to make you feel better, and da. So Caleb McGreeney, he's coming out full force saying, look, he was a supplier, that he's the one that supplied drugs to people. And so that doesn't shock me, right? That basically, it almost comes across to me a little bit like somebody who's a bit of an outcast, and then, but they have things to offer other people. And you know how it is. Hey, if I can get, you know, this or that from somebody. So he was, it wouldn't shock me if he becomes that go-to guy, right? Go over to his house. And it's kind of like he's saying that. So Alex Weimer Lee was a good friend, stand-up guy. So hopefully people try to lay off of him a bit, because I don't believe he has anything to do with it. Again, he was at the celebration of life. Now, Jordan did take some items to a friend's house so that Ricky's parents, and I don't know about other items there. It's just Ricky's parents, stepmom and dad, had spoke, you know, about that fact that some items were given to a friend that Jordan had dropped off so that they could have them. So one of them might include a jacket, perhaps a cell phone. So yesterday I was thinking more so, okay, well, you know, this is probable. If they all took this, say, concoction, and this is just hypothetically, but if they all took this concoction that Jordan Willis had made, and 3 of them went outside, let's say, because I know that there's one smoker, but maybe there's a couple of smokers. You go outside, have a smoke, you know. So then I was thinking, okay, so it makes sense if somebody, was inside and he fell asleep and he was out for 2 days because his own concoction was like, whatever, way too strong. But now, actually, I'm going to have to go back to the fact that we don't know yet, because now I'm still pondering again after listening to Caleb if he was aware of it happening and he just played stupid for a couple of days, because it will come out, like if somebody's saying that there was messages sent and it showed as read, and stuff like that, so I have to kind of go back to that, where I was thinking more so, okay, basically bad drugs, drinking, outside, okay, you can see, something happening, that they slip into unconsciousness because of this drug that's, say, too powerful in a sense or whatever. Oh, hi, Jerry. Okay. And would you say, Cordy, all the families seem to really like Alex and say he's very upset? Yeah. Like, again, just trying to keep it real and realistic in a sense. So really, it's really going to be one of two things. Are we going to find out that, he did concoct something, they all took it? Chances of that are probably pretty high. But did he pretend like he didn't know for 2 days and he was just playing like the dumb card? And then all of a sudden, like, it's like almost like somebody waiting it out, because it does seem ridiculous that somebody fell asleep, with a fan on, with headphones on for 2 days. And it would kind of match the inconsistency of what his lawyer keeps saying. That 1 minute he's saying that he didn't take him to the door. Then he's saying that, hey, it's not unbeknownst to people that if he went to sleep, that they would still hang out there and leave when they wanted to. The next thing you know, he said that, yes, that Jordan Willis escorted him to the door. Like, it was the most stupidest shit to the ear to listen to be honest, from the lawyer. But it depends if Jordan Willis is changing up his story, or if his lawyer just isn't getting his facts straight as he's telling it. Because Alex said that he left at 12, and when he left, they were playing Jeopardy, and that they had watched a Chiefs game, like they had been somewhere else, and then they were invited back to Jordan's house because he was known to be the guy, like I said, that you went to, had your fun, your recreational, say, drugs or whatever. Yes, he is playing the gun card that he took. Well, like yesterday I was more convinced. Now today I'm not. I was more convinced because I was thinking, okay, they've taken a drug. They're outside. He's inside. If his own drug backfired on him as well, okay, I could see that. So that's still a plausible outcome. But because of the fact of what Caleb is saying, McGreeney, that he was known to be basically a dealer, make concoctions and stuff like that, and he's like, and my cousin is not his guinea pig, so I'm not going to doubt it. If there's charges that are going to be brought in, it won't shock me if charges are brought in, if it comes to fruition that, yes, indeed, Jordan Willis concocted some sort of drug. This drug, enhanced, was a bad, basically, drug, and enhanced whatever it was. And then with the outside hypothermia and with the drinking and the drug, that it all just basically took them out. Basically, when they were outside, they all just basically went unconscious. Remember, David Harrington was sitting in the chair outside, and the other two were whatever in the backyard part. So you know that if David Harrington was in the chair, that tells you pretty much that they were just chilling out back. The cousin's interview, I believe, yes, is telling. So, the lawyer came out saying, of course, that, like he had nothing to do with it. He's sad and grief stricken and stuff like that. Well, like I said, it was just a matter of where these drugs would come from. Did they come from somebody else, or did they come from, say, Jordan Willis? And because Jordan Willis is a chemist scientist, it was likely in most people's head that he had created some sort of drug, concoction or whatever, probably laced with some sort of fentanyl, or maybe it was a pill, who knows? Like, I don't even know much about fentanyl. I remember just watching this cop show. Now, just correct me if I'm wrong, but is fentanyl, how do you do fentanyl? Is it in a baggie? Because I just remember the cop. She, I think, opened something in this woof of fentanyl. And next thing I know, she was on the ground in this kind of like one of those real live TV shows that you're watching thing. So I don't really know about that stuff. I don't know if you inject it. I don't know if you just, snort. I don't know, actually. Guess I should look that up. But I know that, fentanyl is definitely, kills a lot of people. Do most people fall flat on their backs when you collapse? I would think you would fall forward. And they say the other two were on their backs. Well, right. I mean, honestly, Cordy, I, to me, I get it. You would think it was typical people fall face forward, but I guess, they could have probably done either or. I guess it depends, like if they were, swaying and then, poof, I don't know, because one of the assumptions is that they had died inside and they were taken out. I don't know that one necessarily. That one seems a little bit too much to think that they were, dragged outside and David Harrington was big guy that he is, was put into a chair by little dude there. Yeah, that one doesn't make sense to me. I think that the three guys were outside and however it happened that they fell, whatever, on their backs. You can smoke it. Okay. You can smoke it, inject it, and snort. Okay. Is it in pill form as well? Can it be in the pill form as well? Yeah. Yeah. I just don't know. Is it in pill form as well? I'm thinking it was weed. You guys think it was, well, I don't know. You guys think it was weed? Or do you guys think that, I don't know. I'm not probably seeing the injection part. I'm thinking maybe they sat down first. I guess, right? It just depends exactly where they were sitting or in the backyard, because there's another chair that was there. There's two chairs. Pill or weed. Yeah. So maybe it wouldn't shock me if it was more in the form, it's either pill or weed then. One of those two. Maybe laced weed, or maybe it was, a pill point. There are those two little, I don't know, look like little farming patches, basically. Who knows? Don't know exactly, right? It's never been said exactly where in the backyard or whatever. I don't know. I could see them falling back or forward. It's one of those things. Yeah, how far are you away from Plate County, Missouri there? I'm going to play the last clip from Ashley Banfield. It's when she's talking to Ricky Johnson's stepmom, Linda Johnson. So let's do that quickly, even though this interview irritates me. Maybe it won't irritate you, but it irritated me watching it.
Linda, how did the meetings go today with the Platte County prosecutors?
It went well. We got just reassurance that they are looking into this case fully. They didn't give any specifics on, evidence or what they found or what they haven't found. They just reassured us that it is being investigated.
Did they make any mention of Jordan Willis and reports that he checked himself into rehab recently?
They only mentioned that there is a rumor of that. They don't have any verification of that.
But they acknowledged they had heard that same report.
Yes, they did acknowledge that.
Linda, did they give any further descriptions of the way the bodies were found in the backyard?
No, they did not. And they said they weren't going to get specifics because they didn't want to taint the investigation. They didn't want to paint any possible anything going forward. So they just weren't getting into specifics.
And it must be so frustrating, especially since this most recent report that David Harrington was found seated in one of those lawn chairs out back. Did they say anything about what David and Ricky and Clayton were wearing out back?
They did not. Like I said, they did not give us anything on the investigation side. They didn't want to possibly, if you were called in to be what is the word I'm looking for? If you were called into court to answer questions, they didn't want to taint what you might say.
Understandable. I know that April Mahoney, who is Clayton McGreeney's fiance, made the discovery, at least of one of the bodies. Can you explain that or describe that as you have learned from her? How exactly did she see the body that she saw? Was it through a window? Did she go into the backyard? Like, how did it happen?
My understanding is she entered the house through the front into the basement. And she went upstairs and was looking through a window and saw the body seated on the back patio in a chair.
So she was able to see through a window that David Harrington was seated in that lawn chair on that back patio. Did she mention if it was the kitchen window or if it was the doorway window or it might be a sunroom or a breakfast nook? Did she mention which window?
She did not, and I have not personally talked to her. This is just information that I have received secondhand.
Were you or your husband, Ricky, asked to come and identify Ricky's son, Ricky Jr.? Who made the identification for the police?
We were not asked to go identify the body. They told us that the bodies have to thaw out. They were frozen, and that could have possibly have taken to that Friday. Well, we weren't really willing to wait that long. So I called the medical examiner the next day, and I started describing Ricky's tattoos and his piercings, and she told me that was one of the deceased that she had.
Did you ask if you could come and make that identification personally yourselves?
I did call the police and ask them if that is something we could do so we could get an identification sooner, because you still hold out hope that he is going to come home. You want to make sure that that's him. I was told that that's something that you only see in movies. These people to identify bodies.
To be clear, they said that's only something they do in the movies if you wanted to identify Ricky yourselves. Is that clear?
Yes, that's for me.
Thank you for.
Okay, so let me just quickly go back to the backyard since Sin obviously is not going to be doing our boots on the ground for us, but that's a good thought there. Imagine if we had people in different locations reporting boots on the ground stuff. There we go. Okay. Is that the best picture? Let's see. We'll try to get it. Okay, we'll leave it there. Okay, so no, Gertie. I like your deal. Instantly in my head, I was going, imagine if we had boots on the ground in different places, we'd be the most amazing channel ever, to be honest with you. It'd be like a flower floors that you buy flowers and you can place them all over the world, that type of thing. Gotcha. I get you. Sid. Yeah, not going to Delphi, so don't ask. Come on now. See, I would be the opposite way. I'd be like, sure. Because that stuff would intrigue me. And I always, you guys, if you guys watch this, you guys know I love boots on the ground. Like I said, JLR, he's always boots on the ground. So I love it when we get the advantage from somebody else's, in a sense that's right there. And they're like literally taking you around. It's not kind of like the news stations do that. So, all in all, it will be interesting to see how true crime, unfolds with local authorities and how it, proceeds in the future with all this sleuthing and all that stuff. You probably do have subs everywhere. Probably. They don't really show up here too much, though. About half of them are from England. From the Nicola Bully case. It's no joke here. Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think that the whole oldness thing is a lot bigger, than I think a lot of us thought, because most of us aren't into that stuff. Sin, I went to Delphi for Sunny, got an orb to pick. Yeah, but yeah, there wasn't any that's true. You did get the orb, Cordy, but I needed you to come live, boots on the ground. That's what I needed from you. But maybe next time, eh? Okay, so going back to this here. Okay, so this is the backyard, and as we know that what was her name? Mahoney. Why is her name escaping me? Was it Alice? No, I don't know. I want to say Alice Mahoney, but anyways, we'll say Mahoney because that was the fiance that went looking for, Clayton McGreeney. And so she went in to the front. And if you think about where that front window was, right, it's on the same level, in a sense, it's on the same level as the top part here, looking into the back. So I'm kind of thinking that, those two windows that are, let's see here. I mean, there's stupid banner things in the way. Okay, I'll just leave it there. There we go. So I'm thinking that, possibly this window, perhaps, is where maybe she's seen the person on the porch. And I'm just saying that because of the fact I'm thinking about where the other window is out front. And if she was coming through the kind of basement area, that maybe she stopped at this window, one of these windows here, and looked out and then saw, like I said, it had to have been something, because she noticed the person on the porch, but she didn't notice the two guys, right? So it wouldn't make sense that it was one of these. Probably it would more make sense that perhaps it was this, and maybe some snow was covering the other two, and she just seen the one and instantly freaked out and like I said, called the police. Yeah, yeah. Again, each to their own. I'm a very spiritual person. Like I said, I kind of follow the whole Buddhism type of thing. You know, just in general, it just seems to follow more what I think in life. And then when I, listen to the Buddhism side, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much me right there in a nutshell. Um, and like I said, and it's just that I refuse to have a closed mind. If you have a closed mind, you close doors. And I refuse to close doors. People always want to, I'm not going to get into this, but I've said this before. People want to say that there is a God for sure, that they're certain and all this and all that stuff. But yet, have you seen God? Have you not? So if you haven't seen God and you believe in that, then why is it so hard to believe in spirits or that there's another realm or dimension and stuff like that? I find that very um, hypocritical, to be honest with you, because it's like you're going to believe in something that you don't see, but yet you're convinced that that person exists, but yet you're not convinced that perhaps your loved ones are on the other side. So as far as I'm concerned, your loved ones, like I know, are all around you. You just need to talk to them. They still exist. I've experienced it myself. I don't have to prove it to anybody because I could care less to prove it to anybody. I know my own thing. And the thing is that I refuse to have a closed mind and type of thing. And that's so the people that have the open minds are the ones that people will come to or try to connect with, perhaps, maybe in somebody's lifetime. And the people like, I hate to say my twin sister, but she's like as closed off as it comes in a lot of ways. But when you have this negative aura and attitude and you believe that somehow life is picking on you and you're the target of everything and everything sucks and that's not true and this is not true, great, enjoy your miserable effing life. I just refuse. Hey, if there's aliens, there's aliens. If there's freaking little purple plant eaters around, then they are, type of thing. I'll never say never to keep in my mind open. To me, someone's very smart if they look at life that way instead of closing all doors, acting like especially when you don't have knowledge for sure, but I have my own knowledge. I have my own experiences. And so for me, I'm fine with that. If I die tomorrow, I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. Probably booked it out of there. She went into the backyard because neighbors said he saw her come from the backyard and was on her phone. Right, exactly. Now, she couldn't get into the backyard because the gate was too high for her. Same, Cordy. Do I cry? In a good way, right? Like Sunnyside cracked you up. But she couldn't reach over the fence because, like I said, it's too high for her. I've come across those fences myself. Little short asses like us can't, whatever. So that's hence why she's, just trying to figure out where, her fiance is, Clayton McGreeney. Hence why she breaks into the window. But I've also heard that the back door was it open? See, do you guys think, hey, let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think that these three guys literally went out the front door and then went, you know what, we're just going to go back into the backyard, I don't think that happened. If Mr. Jordan Willis is checking himself on in to rehab there, don't you think it's more plausible that the guys used the back door and the back door was open, but yet when the girlfriend was there, it somehow was locked? Do you know what I mean? Because we heard about the door being open, then it was locked. So I'm more apt to, so just knowing that Jordan Willis has checked himself into rehab, and all of us, I believe, felt like whoever was, like, some people were like on the hypothermia by itself thing or whatever, and some people were on poison. Well, the poison thing to me was just out of there. I didn't believe in that line whatsoever. It was always about drugs to me, because that's the thing that makes the most sense, right? Is drugs, not carbon monoxide, whatever. Drugs, not some poison pill. But it makes sense to me that Ricky Johnson's jacket was probably inside because he was one of those guys that go out in the cold like I can. You don't need a jacket on and stuff like that. No, you're right. Exactly. And that's probably the point there. When Alex left, like he used that as like, pretty much everybody left. But I don't think it happened that way. I think that these three guys went outside. One of them for sure is a smoker, possibly two, possibly three of them are smokers. Who knows? The only person I don't see being a smoker for some reason, and this is just my own guess, would be Clayton McGreeney. The other two look like smokers, but I know for a fact that Ricky Johnson is a smoker because his own family said so. And about, weed and different things. But anyways, so it makes more sense to me that they went out the back. David sat in the chair. The other two were, you know what? I'm sure that the other two must have been somewhat near David Harrington. They must have been somewhere around there, because it's not like you see two guys going off this way and David Harrington. It could be, but it makes more sense that they're probably around, chatting it up, whatever. So it makes more sense that they came out the back door. Back door was open. Ricky Johnson's jacket was in the house, hence why it was in the house, because he just, like I said, they were just going outside, having a smoke, whatever. This, whatever it was, must have hit them really quick. Like, it really must have hit them really quick. Like, David Harrington is literally sitting in a chair, right? Like, if he got up and face planted or something like that, but he was in a chair. So it's like whatever it was that they took, it pretty much, within not too long of a time, knocked them all unconscious, is what it seems like. Once they hit the cold drinking and then that drug, however much, what's the word I want to use? When it's on the tip of my tongue, this word, when it's like a high potency in a sense. Have you ever seen the fentanyls? Have you ever seen the fentanyl as zombies in Philadelphia? Actually, I don't even know what that sentence means. Have you ever seen the fentanyl as zombies? Is that like a movie? Is that, I'm not sure. Maybe if you could explain more. Or they were all standing smoking, and David seems to collapse, and he feels woozy and heads out to the house and makes it to there. Yeah, absolutely, Cordy. Exactly. Another scenario that's possible, right? Maybe, like, David Harrington was a big boy. Ricky Johnson was a big boy. Clayton McGreeney, just a smaller dude, right? Stature-wise. But exactly. Maybe, like, they were probably, like, if you go outside and have a smoke, and whatever, you just kind of go off onto the, like, porch area right around there, yappity yap, in a sense. That could have been exactly what happened. Who knows? Either way, I feel like that they never did leave the front of the house. And I believe the last thing the attorney said, I think his last more statement after all this bullshit, was that, how it is when, he went to sleep and, they were just hanging around in the house and they would just leave when they want to, type of thing. Like, seriously, how do you just keep switching up? And then remember, okay, one of the things that the attorney says, well, he doesn't know if they went out through the front door or the back door. But when you just kind of look at it, Ricky's jacket is in the house. Chances are they went out to have a smoke, hang out, whatever it was that they took hit them. I wouldn't doubt it if Jordan Willis played this stupid card for 2 days, because it does make more sense considering now that he's checked himself into rehab, and knowing that there's these inconsistencies from his lawyer about a message being read type of idea, no one seeing the dogs. Like, apparently his dogs were both at his dad's house or whatever. And his friend did say that, the one dog is meant for his dad because his dad has Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So, okay. So, but you didn't go pick your dogs up or whatever for 2 days because you were so busy, you passed out there, Yeah, like I said, it's still plausible that it's not, it's definitely unrealistic. It's one of those hogwash stories that when you hear it, you're just like, yeah, okay, bullshit. You know, I'm just thinking, you know, I gotta go back and watch. Let's just watch this one again. Not that one. Let's see what this guy says in this interview.
So if all of that is true, there is still a question. This has to be about drugs. If it, or, you know, booze, drugs, whatever it is. Because if they're not shot and they're not stabbed and they're all dead, it just strains common sense to believe they could have wound up in this predicament if it wasn't done to them without drugs. It is the elephant in the room. What is the position of your client?
As I told you last night, Chris, I'm not in a position to comment on that at this time for a variety of reasons, not just on behalf of Jordan. And when and if the toxicology report comes out and when we get it, I'd certainly be happy to comment on it at that time. I'm not going to speculate about the activity and the behavior of other people who were not in the presence of my client at some point in time that evening or early morning hours.
And look, we both understand the dilemma, okay? If the tox comes out and they had whatever it is in it that makes this a more understandable situation, he's now going to be chasing his responsibility as opposed to being in front of it and owning what happened that night. And one of those is a much more satisfying thing in terms of credibility. You're aware that that is the dilemma here.
No, I don't see it that way. And, you know, he has an attorney and I'm representing his best interest. And he did nothing wrong. And that's what we're saying. That's what we're maintaining. And that's what we're going to say, no matter what comes back in that autopsy report.
Right. Well, something's going to come back. And I will give you a platform at that time and we'll discuss it because things just never don't make sense. Eventually, it will make sense and the responsibility will lie where it does and we'll take it to its logical conclusion. John Paserno, thank you very much for being with us
Chris,
again. Yes,
I would like to address those the phone calls and the text messages if I could, since the reporter left that hanging out there.
Go ahead, because the initial suggestion was he only got a Facebook message and nobody was really trying to get him. Malik says that's not true because the fifth friend says that he was getting messages and he was trying to find him and he wasn't getting his messages answered either. So what is it?
So I have sent your staff the records, his phone records, which I acquired this afternoon, and also the text message records. And during that period of time, the phone calls that came in on the early morning hour after the game on the 7th and the early morning hours of the 8th, all the way to the 8th, and then all the way to the 9th when the police came. The only calls that came in were one from his dad, which we recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. Mm-hmm. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a robo-killer app on his phone. And so when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they...
I can't listen to that guy no more. Yeah, dummy numbers, this, that. I just can't listen to that guy anymore. I'll quickly show you what I just pulled up there. Sin. And from, let's see, 18 hours ago.
In recent years, the emergence of novel substances to illicit drug markets contributing to a surge in opioid-related overdoses. Cells, coupled with their potential for adverse health effects, makes them
let's see.
As individuals may fear judgment or rejection from society.
Okay. 1 second. So that's it. Let me. Hold on. I'll have to go to which Facebook was it? It's a Criming Shame one. I never understand this thing. Messages. Let me see here. Okay, I see it, Sin. January 11th. Carnes. Why's that one sounding familiar? Carnes. New York Post. Thanks. Here, let me stop the screen and I'll share that if I can. That's sweet. Okay, 1 second. I think this is it. Yes, Courtney. Hold on, let me just, or we'll leave it on that dude there. I don't think you'll probably ever become homeless. Well, let me put it this way. You say you're atomic bomby thing. So don't become like a scientist, and then give anyone drugs, Cordy, and then next thing you know, you're gonna lose your life as atomic bomb person and whatever. So don't do maybe a Jordan Willis if he's doing it. And absolutely, so Sin, that's it, nuclear. I was trying to think of the word all of a sudden, and it was eluding me. Nuclear, yeah. So yeah, don't be detonating any like fentanyl bombs off and stuff like that, eh? And you won't have an issue with the homeless part probably. But okay, there's 3 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment. But okay, we can put you out on the balcony. So in Vancouver, where I live in Canada, obviously, we have East Hastings Street. And East Hastings Street pretty much looks exactly what you're looking at on your Kensington Street in Pennsylvania or whatever it was. Philadelphia, sorry. In Philadelphia there. Pretty much, zombies walking around just like that. It's crazy, isn't it? And it's sad. It's really sad. Because to me, everyone's human beings. Yeah. And it's so sad to watch, these people that are just like you and I, but they've, you know, ended up on the street, maybe because they wanted to, maybe possibly because they or didn't want to, but ended up there, and then drugs, drinking, become the way of life. And it's just like any addiction, really. It's not as easy as it sounds just to go, yeah, I'm going to go fix myself. So it's really quite sad when you look at somebody that's just a human being, just like any of us, but they're in a state of addiction. And like that poor guy that I'm looking at right there, right? It's crazy looking at that, how the body's like it, like exactly like a zombie, for sure. Um, what did you say there? If it's something Jordan concocted, I hope that they can find what it is. I think for the drug panels, they have to know what they are looking for. Absolutely. Like in his lab and whatever. Okay. Because this guy never expected for this to happen. He didn't, right? It's not like this was a purposeful, thing against these friends. So it won't shock me, of course, that in his lab that they're gonna find some, you know, drugs and some substance and concoctions that he had made. Because again, last thing he was thinking was that, you know, if like, and this is all hypothetical because the story's going to unfold. You know, do you guys think that there's going to be an well, there is an investigation, you know, and then it's just really just a matter of, you know, how much Jordan Willis is just kind of trying to save his ass because he's probably scared as shit. Knowing that if he did concoct something and that his these three friends died because of something that he concocted, oh, he's going to be in a whole world of hurting for sure. Right, his equipment maybe wasn't clean and cross contaminated, and his stuff, you know. So I guess it, you know, it just really boils down to if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, chances are it's a duck. I don't think that he's this innocent swan in all of this, that's for sure. Because I think it's very telling that if somebody checks themselves into rehab and then Caleb McGreeney's like, hey, yeah, this dude, he's in, you know, high school and he's giving people pills and whatever. Hey, do you need a pill? Like, how are you feeling? Let me just be your freaking doctor for you. And again, it seems like these people knew this and, you know, he like Caleb McGreeney, he didn't really answer the question when the guy said, well, he kind of did, I suppose. When the guy asked him, is he more like an outcast, like, you know, Jordan Willis? He just basically came back with, he's a scientist, you know, he's a chemist. That's what he said. He's a chemist, you know, basically saying, well, basically they go to him because that's where, you know, they can get their stuff, you know, and recreational, and that's how I kind of take the other three. Maybe not, maybe we'll find out differently, but I kind of take the other three as that. No, nothing is looking good for Jordan. And again, remember, Alex Weimer talked to the families. Alex Weimerly talked to the families, but he didn't talk to the families. He just lawyered up, right? And his lawyer's going, look, he didn't have nothing to do, you know, with Sadats. Well, what's he going to tell his lawyer? Like, look, bud, I need you. I freaking took out 3 of my friends. You know, did it? Of course not, right? Defense, like a defense attorney of there, of course, is going to be there for the client, regardless if he's guilty as shit or not. But, you know, everything about this case reeks of Jordan Willis involvement in some way. Being the scientist, chemist, from him falling asleep and be the only one alive, you know, from text messages. And yes, we did hear in one article that I know of, Cordy, that Alex Weimer believed that the dogs were there. Versus and that one I'm not sure of, because it was, articles can get shit wrong too, which I know full well. I can read different articles and find total discrepancies, you know, within 5 to 6 articles already. Off the subject, but can you start adding? So wait, what? Sunny. Well, first of all, you didn't even spell my name right. Off subject, but can you start adding my name to your banner with you and Adam? Just put and sometimes Cordy. Well, that could happen, Cordy, if you actually come and join us on the lives. How about them apples? And sometimes Cordy. And here and there, Cordy. You should come do a live. I feel like that. I feel like there's a space for you on the banner somewhere. You know, we could negotiate. Right. Okay. And if maybe one day, Cordy, I'll surprise you, you know, and if you miss it, it will kind of like being, what's that? Finding, what's that thing? Finding, or where is Waldo? Yeah. So one day I'll stick it on the banner, and sometimes Cordy, and then if you spot it, well, then you spot it. I guess if you don't, you don't. What do I win? What do I win if you spot it? What do you win? What do you win? Free hugs? Nah, that's boring. Um, mm, well, I would win probably. Well, I still believe you're a he, not a she. Um, yeah, maybe the knowledge of the truth on that one, Qwerty. But you're nuclear. You definitely have to be a male, for sure. And then there, you know what? And shut up to all you people that go, who cares about the sex? He's a he, she, that, them, they, it. No, I'll always be zooming. No, I'll always be zooming. I'll tell you what. Within a week, Qwerty, I'm going to add it to the banner somewhere. All right? And okay, hold on. Wait. We have to have some sort of bet going on here or something. I'll have to think of something. Right, Ben? I always like these little, like a little side bet, a little gambler in me. Now, I'll always be zoo. Yeah. I am an it. Definitely are an it. Yes. I'm an it. I'm a they, them, those, he, she, whatever, right? I identify as an ice cream cone cup today. That's what I identify. I don't say anything less. I'm not a she today. I'm a ice cream cone cup today on there. Okay. Now, what else do you guys got to say? You guys got anything else to say? Because I'm just trying to think here. I mean, really, it just becomes a matter of waiting for the toxicology, seeing if any more information comes out, you know. I'm trying to think of, I did a video on Carnes, because as I was going to Sin's message, someone said, can you please take down your video of the Carnes? And all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. Carnes. No, I must have done a video. Sorry guys, it's bugging me. I have to take a look. Because it's like I know I made the video. I know I've made a video. Carnes. And all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank on the freaking, you know what's on the tip of your tongue? Carnes. I don't know. It's just bugging me that I've seen that now. And I know that that name is just sitting on top of my head. Carnes. You guys help me out. What was it? What was it? The story about the Carnes? Do you guys remember, like, Carnes? Oh, it's gonna bug me till I figure that one out. Because it's like right there, but it won't come off here. It's probably because I'm identifying as an ice cream cone cup today. What time is it? 1:15. I don't know. I'll stay on for a few more minutes, I suppose. No, Carnes. Carnes. It's just bugging me. Let me just type it into my Carnes. Oh, true crime updates. Let's see. Soto Carnes. Oh. Oh, hey, that was it. Okay, that was it. Thank you. Okay, so do you remember of the I'm not sure, Courtney, if you saw the story, but in Texas, there was this son that shot his mom. Hold on, I just went blurry, I feel, on my thing. Let me just see. That son that shot his mom and dad, and he was a judge. Like the father was a judge. Do you remember that? And so Travis knew of that lawyer, or sorry, the judge that was killed. I only did 2 videos on it. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, that's what that was, is the thing. So I'm going to have to go look at that. So basically it was a son, you know, that obviously had other siblings as well. And just a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, he shot his, like I said, mom and dad. It's basically like the bad child of the home. It's what it seems like. You know, the child that can't get their shit together in life, and anger, whatever, and ended up taking out his mom and dad, and his dad being a judge. They were about close, like 70 years old. Just a very tragic thing. Travis actually was the one that had told me about the case. Yeah, brain freeze. Hi, Marion. How are you? Yeah, so again, we're just really talking about this case with the Carnes. Now, for the Carnes, yeah. Well, we were just talking about that case. But this video, obviously, about the Kansas City 3 Chiefs. And if you haven't watched the start of it, it's a very good video to watch or whatever, where Caleb McGreeney is talking about how Jordan Willis, basically in high school, was a go-to guy, you know, to get the drugs for concoctions that he would make and stuff like that. And everyone knew that. And pretty much everyone knows that, how, like, that they died from what they believe is Jordan Willis, but that's not factual in a sense. Well, obviously Caleb would know about the drugs and stuff like that being sold, and that he's the go-to guy. And obviously I'm sure that pretty much what Caleb is saying is going to be pretty accurate. So then it just becomes a matter of, will there be charges against Jordan Willis? Should it be come to fruition that in his lab, etc., that they find, you know, drugs, making of drugs, whatever. Did he contribute? Did he himself contribute to those deaths? I don't know. I feel like the answer might be yes. What to expect? Yes. When? Correct. Okay. So this happened January 9th. They were obviously dead on probably, well, it would have been January 8th. They were found January 9th at nighttime. And they said 8 to 10 weeks for the toxicology report. But they had also said that they wouldn't be released to the public for 10 to 12 weeks. So I'm thinking more at the end. So 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, that's like 2 months away still, if that. 4, 8, 9. Yeah, that's like 2 to 3 months away. Dang. Well, hopefully it's before that. No, but thing is, Marion, people get charged all the time, actually, for basically, you know, it's kind of like if you give someone a gun that's going to go do a crime type of idea. You know, can you be an accessory to that, knowing that that person asked it for that, or a contributing factor to their deaths? Absolutely. I've seen those cases all the time where just because they're not forced doesn't mean that that person didn't contribute to their death. And that will be the thing there. So if Jordan, you know, made a concoction or whatever, you know, that was, like I said, made a concoction, correct, they didn't force, but that doesn't mean he can't be charged. I see those type of cases all the time, really. It's no different than the case that's going on right now, actually. That the shooter, right? That shooter case in, where is it? Is it Oklahoma or wherever it is? That one with the mother, Jennifer Crumley, right? She didn't pull the trigger, but that she's getting charged. Her and her the father are getting charged for basically being accessories to this. So that's going to be that's a case that's going to have precedence, right, in the future about like it's like that little 6-year-old that went to school, shot a teacher in the thumb or whatever the hand, and it's like, but the gun was left out. So the parents themselves were negligent. And it's really about time that parents are held accountable for these things. Like, if you knowingly knew that your son was having issues and he owned a gun and you did nothing to try to even prevent it as a parent, then you're going to find yourself in that case that's going on right now. But at the end of the day, right, no one forces someone to take the drugs. But again, doesn't mean he cannot not be charged with the contributing death to their lives because of some concoction that he made and stuff like that. So that will all be determined. Yeah. So I get your point, that nobody can force somebody to do something, but it doesn't just stop there. The buck just doesn't stop like that. Yeah. Yeah. It will be interesting, and the thing is that it's really one of those things, on the surface that everything that we're seeing, everything just reeks of Jordan Willis. Jordan Willis, having something to do with being a chemist, making some sort of concoction, perhaps. Is that true that we know of? Obviously not. Is it, is it common sense that does make sense, that that's kind of what happened? Absolutely. Because then you have Caleb McGreeney's, or Clayton McGreeney's cousin, Caleb McGreeney, speaking up and talking about, and this goes back to David Harrington's, was talking with News Nation, and she said that she hadn't heard good things about Jordan Willis. She said she didn't know him, maybe had heard of him once, but she's not heard any good things about Jordan Willis. And this is probably what she's referring to, is what Caleb McGreeney was saying, that he was this go-to drug person. If you wanted to, like I said, have a drug for whatever reason, purpose, or whatever, he'd probably sit up there in his little mixing lab going, oh, I got the perfect antidote for you. Yeah. Yeah, I personally don't believe so, Cordy, at all. I don't. Because he bought Chiefs games for them tickets. I don't believe it was some conspiracy like, oh, I'm going to make it look like I bought tickets for them, when really I don't see that happening at all. I think it was probably a concoction that was very deadly. And, and if he truly did pass out for 2 days, because of some concoction that he made, because even it impacted him the wrong way, but he was inside, so he lives, and it turns out that way, Yeah, absolutely. Right, Daisy? Yeah. Right. Well, that's the truth, but the truth and the laws are two different things to me personally. Like, meaning, absolutely, everyone is should be accountable for their own choices and actions, but that still doesn't stop the law from charging someone, if they believe that they contributed, right, recklessly or whatever, to somebody's death. Like, if the friends go there, because the friends didn't go there with the intention of dying, right? But again, it would just be determined if he's going to be charged because he contributed, to their deaths. That's a different story. But at the end of the day, they still chose, on a separate issue, they still chose to participate in this. And when you play with fire, you get burnt, right? Simple as that. It's kind of like a lot of these deaths in celebrities. they've been drinking, and then they take pills, and the next thing you know, they've OD'd, not because they intended on dying, but obviously they know pills and drinking don't mix. And this would be possibly the case here as well, depending on how much they each drank, right? Obviously, somebody smaller doesn't handle their booze as much as somebody that's bigger. But I believe that he will get charged with dealing. And it could be just that. Maybe they won't be able to prove something. Who knows? Who knows? It's just a matter of time. That's really just a matter of time to see how it plays out. And you might very well be, because again, it won't shock me if up in his little laboratory up there that they got evidence, they got proof of the fact that he was making drugs up in that little laboratory. Again, he didn't go with the expectation of the cops coming to his house until something bad happens. Now I'm sure he's just shitting his pants. But this is only if that he is charged, or that he aided in providing or whatever. Because obviously we have to wait for the actual, like the actual charges, if there's any. But hence why they were called into the prosecution office, right? To basically told, like, hey, look, we're not taking this lightly. We are looking into this. I might not almost be a lawyer, right, Daisy? But I'm almost amazing, aren't I, sometimes? Almost. Right. Hold on a second. And I just have to remember Cordy's saying, and sometimes Cordy. Okay. I just got to remember that sentence. In the UK, UK, is a whole different ball of wax, right? In the UK, he would be charged with either dealing or manslaughter. Well, and that's the same here, right? Same thing. Could be charged with one or the other, maybe none. Again, it's just like, does it smell like does it smell like shit? Like listening to it all, it does. It sounds like a bunch of manure. To believe that this didn't happen and this didn't happen and this didn't happen, and he just miraculously had a fan on in the midst of winter, had a fan on and headphones on for 2 days, and then his lawyer said that he sporadically left. Oh, wait, then he didn't leave because he was too busy sleeping for 2 days. The inconsistencies with the whole thing, like I said, smell like a big pile of freaking manure, camel dung, whatever. And the truth will come out. It will come out. This one will be an easy case. Toxicology and whatever evidence that they find in Jordan Willis's home. It's just a matter of time. And if any other family members come forward into view, yeah, I'm sure they're doing their thing. So we're gonna need to drive to Jordan. Yeah, do a reading. See if you pick it. No, Cordy, she doesn't want any attachments. It might. You know what? It won't shock me. That's true, right? But you know what? I mean, he is a smart dude. But you're right, right? I mean, he had 2 days. If he had something to do with that part, or the fact that, obviously, if you have, if you have 3 guys dead in your backyard, obviously, if you know that and you're just kind of playing the stupid card, you're gonna haul your ass up to your freaking ass lab and hide any evidence of anything. You're right about that. So, Cordy. Wait. So, nuclear, candle and window only at Christmas time, sage, spiritual. Yeah. By tomorrow, I should have your actual physical address, Cordy. I'll figure you out one day. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I care, maybe I don't. Hi, Ben. Hi, GP. But yeah, let's see here. I don't know if there's anything that you guys else. I feel like there's nothing more I can really say right now because you know what? Let me play that clip one more time. Let me go get that clip one more time. I want to play Caleb's clip again. Okay, close this off. Let me just do that. I want to hear that one. It's almost like one of those clips that I can put on record in a sense. Okay, where is that one? Right here. Okay, hold on. I just gotta pull it up again. Let's do that. Let's do that. Ready. Okay, this will make sure you guys, if you guys haven't seen this clip, make sure you pay attention.
The prosecutors met with the families of the 3 victims today. We're going to talk to Ricky Johnson's family about that meeting in just a moment. But first, News Nation's national correspondent Alex Capriello has been way out front on this story. He's live now in Kansas City. So do you have any confirmations on this story that that Jordan Willis has checked into rehab?
Yeah, it was one source of mine that I've met here in Kansas City who knows Jordan from early high school days was the first person to actually tell me that yesterday. And I've been working very hard to speak to other sources, trying to get that individually confirmed. And I'll tell you this, all of the people that I've been speaking to, a lot of high school classmates and also who knew Jordan from college, this is all they're talking about. This is something that's new to them. But actually independently confirming it, I have not been able to, but it is something that was shared with me early on yesterday.
I'm just getting news coming in, breaking as we're speaking, Alex. So bear with me for 1 second. Our local Nexstar station in that area is confirming that a source close to the family indeed says that he's checked into rehab. So now it's not just multiple media sources, right, your source, but also the Nexstar. I think we've got enough sources now to right, fairly confirm that he's in rehab. You did get a chance also to speak to the cousin of one of the victims, of Clayton McGreeney's cousin. I think his name is Caleb. What did Caleb know, and, right, and what did he share with you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Caleb is very, very distraught, as any family member might be, because this was just an unexpected death to happen to him. He says Clayton was like his brother. He was cousins with him, but they were like brothers. They were like this. And so to have something like this happen to him and his family is just devastating. He was actually showing up at the Platte County Prosecutor's office, where the other parents of these 3 victims were told to go today for a meeting with the prosecutor, but he wasn't allowed into that room because it was specifically for parents only. Even still, he's really hurting about this because he feels like he knows what happened, something that the rest of the country is surmising what happened, which is drug use, abuse, and overdosing. And he says he knows a lot about Jordan Willis, the fact that he goes back all the way to high school. He knows the drug habits that happened within this circle of friends, and that he often says that Jordan was a supplier for that. Of course, this is an allegation from Caleb. This is not something that's been independently confirmed from law enforcement, but he says he has a theory about what happened, and he thinks that Jordan is responsible. Take a listen. A lot of times I'm hearing that David, Clayton, and Ricky were like brothers. Jordan was kind of off on the side.
Mm-hmm.
True?
Jordan's a chemist, bro.
Jordan's what?
Jordan's a chemist. They all knew him as that. It was easy for them to go have fun, but he made a mistake. Jordan was the chemist. He's a scientist, right? He does what he needs to do. Now, to use my cousin, my best friend, as a guinea pig? Nah.
What about Alex Lee? What do you know about him?
I know him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any idea that he might have brought drugs?
Hell
no.
No? Jordan had him. Jordan was one.
So you don't think any more attention should be paid on Alex Lee?
Alex Lee is a good man. He's a good man. Alex Lee is a solid. He was one of their best friends forever. Jordan is somebody that is known from high school as like creating drugs for people to make them feel better in certain situations. Okay, well, you want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you. and handing them out. At this point, the country knows what's going to happen, right? What the toxicology reports are going to, what they're going to reveal. We all know that, okay? Who is the one that gave it to them? And who is the one that needs to be held responsible? Where did it come from? The police are doing their job. If it takes time, it takes time. I will never tell them they're not doing what they should be doing. They're doing the best they can. It takes time because you want it to be correct at the end of the day. And that's what I hope is when at the end of the day it comes out correct.
And when you think about it, there's a difference between Jordan and the three men. Those guys had relationships, they had children, but I keep hearing that Jordan was a single guy who had a house, who had access to drugs. And so it would make sense that those men might go there and use drugs recreationally. Of course, we don't know that for sure until a toxicology report comes out. But all of my sources are saying just about the same thing, that this is very normal activity when surrounded by Jordan.
One other thing I want to ask you about, our next to our station, the local station there, they found out that at least one person in that house was up until 2 a.m. So Sunday into Monday morning, up late into 2 a.m. Monday morning, at least once, which is fascinating given all of these, the timeline of events. But Alex Weimer Lee, I think he calls himself Alex Lee, says he left at midnight, everything was fine. You were able to talk with Alex Lee. Did he shed any more light on that or anything else? The fact that apparently someone or all of them were up until 2 a.m. or anything else?
I have not been able to talk to Alex Lee. I've been trying to talk to Alex Lee. That's been my #1 mission while here, because I know that he was one of the very last people, if not the last person, to see these 4 men, Jordan and those 3 that are now deceased. And so obviously his testimony, his story is going to be critical to this. But I did try to stop by his house that we found through background checks, knocking on his door. You could tell it's most likely his house. Kansas City Chiefs flags hanging everywhere. And the addresses matches up to our typical backgrounding system. But I cannot find the guy. Really hard to find him. We do know that he also has a lawyer. I'm told from my sources that it seems like he is willing to talk soon because he knows that there is a lot of bad mouthing that's happening about him. Because as you heard me mention to Caleb, is there any possibility that Alex Lee brought the drugs? They know that that could be a possibility, a theory out there. And so I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I'm trying to find Alex Lee, but from Caleb's perspective, he does not believe that Alex Lee is responsible for this. He believes that Jordan is the one that's actually making these drugs.
So Cordy, no. See, because being a sloot in this channel is actually a positive thing. We have many sleuths in this channel, and we all cheat on each other. It's kind of like that Jennifer Crumbly trial going on right now, and listening to all her affairs going on. That was freaking hilarious if anyone saw that part of it. I mean, wasn't just one affair. It's like her lawyer is like, yeah, I'm willing to open up that door. You can see your client's like, I trust my lawyer, I guess. And then the prosecution was like, I mean, it's not just the one guy. I mean, there's multiple things. So yeah, so being a sleuth in here, we cheat on each other all the time. So Daisy, sure, fine, you can have freaking tea with Cordy in London, fine, but it's okay. Around here, like I said, being a sleuth is a good word. Hearsay. Cordy hearsay. Anyways, so for anyone that didn't see that video about Caleb McGreeney talking, that's Clayton McGreeney's cousin. And I think that was a very telling interview personally. It gave us more insight about Jordan Willis. And now things I think are kind of coming to, make sense and fruition and stuff like that. That these thumbnails for Jordan Willis today after that guy's interview going to be splashing all around anyone that's following this case. Cordy, did you end up watching the Delphi interview thing with Barbara McDonald yesterday? Oh, I'll let it go for a little bit, Cordy. But Cordy, what I wanted to talk to you about was that one video that you have on your channel. I feel like there's an elephant in the room right now, And I feel like that's you, Cordy. I think you're that elephant in the room. I mean, that's a very impressive one video that you have going on your channel there from a year ago. It's got like 9,700 and I think 36 views at this moment. If I click on it, you probably get one more view. That's right, Sonny, back off. Daisy, me and you, we're good. We're good. We're good. Don't worry. I'm just gonna, you know what? I think I'm just gonna switch it up. I feel like me and Charmaine, I feel like me and her should snuggie or something like that. I'm willing to swing the back door there, the both ways. I'm watching the Crumbly trial. Yeah. She's, yeah, because both her and her husband, for like said manslaughter or whatever. Again, and honestly, like Alexa had said to me last night, like this case is gonna, the Crumbly trial is gonna set a precedent for sure. Isn't it awesome? I love elephants. That was South Africa. Well, I haven't watched it, but I seen the title of it, and I just saw elephants, and I love elephants too. Especially, isn't that Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street? Oh, you know what? Talk amongst yourself. Let me just hit quickly play on it. 1 second. I want to take a look. Hey, Cordy, can I just play it on this channel? You're not going to copyright strike me, are you? Do you want me to play the footage, or would you prefer I didn't? Yes? It's okay? Can show it? Okay. Oh, wait. I can't play it? Yes. Nope. Fine. I see. I see how it is. Fine. Then we're going to end this live stream. I don't play head games. Unlike you, Cordy. Actually, I love head games. Especially when I'm the one doing it. Okay. Copyright strike mean I'm hunting you down. Okay, so give us a little bit of the gist of this story. So you were obviously in Africa. And it's a little bit windy. I'm going to turn the sound down. Is one elephant going to take out another elephant? Oh, look at the little baby elephant. I'm all charged at the end. No. I rode on an elephant once at a circus. Does that count? Look at the little babies. No, this is just like this is our closing arguments right here section. It's so cute when you look at them. You have little baby ones, and you have ones that are still babies, but have probably a year or so old, 2 years. And you have mama and papa and uncles and aunties. Yeah. Look at all the little babies. This video, you guys know, it's like about halfway through. It's 6 minutes long. 6 minutes and 15 seconds. That would be gorgeous to see, like real, right? To actually be right there, which Courtney was. I wonder how old elephants live. I have to Google that. That one looks like, see that? He put dust all over himself. What's up with that? Oh, there you go, Daisy. Oh, okay. Well, why do they need to keep cool if there's like a pond of water right there? Don't you like that? I know. I feel like that the prosecutor side and the defense won on this one. Oh. So let me ask you: is that like a sexual move, or is that like literally just pumping on the back type of thing? Playing on the left. Yeah, look at they're dusting themselves. Is this the one that comes charging as soon? Oh, does he see you? Is he like, I spy, I see you? It's not noisy. Yeah, and then they all get up and go. Yeah. So they see you. And basically it's like, yeah, we're out of here. Yeah, get away. Mm-hmm. Okay, you guys, with that being done, that was our closing arguments. Thank you very much, Cordy, for letting us watch that. This is a nice way. So let me just put that. Thank you very much, Cordy. YouTube, Cordy said we could watch this, okay? So he can't deny it. It's in the chat. This is a nice way to end a live after we discussing a bunch of bad stuff and then have some nice to look at. Maybe we should make this a standard practice. Leave us smiling. You know, absolutely. I always like to have balance of because this stuff is heavy that we talk about. Absolutely. I'm the type of person that typically would like to go to bed watching a comedy, you know, show after a day because it's kind of like, you know, that was always my relaxation. You know, whereas now it seems like, meaning that's what I was typically doing in life before true crime. come around. Now it seems like I'm always, looking at different things. But typically what I do, Cordy, to be honest with you, once I've done with most of my day, I look at some different things that they pop up. But typically, there's a guy, his name is Just Nate. Just Nate is someone that goes around to the homeless people and he helps them out. And he, says, hey, is there anything I can do for you today? Can I get you something? Can I get you some food? Do you need a blanket? Do you need a tent? I love watching him. Yeah, I watch Mr. Beast and stuff like that. But, and Mr. Beast is really kind and generous and giving in a lot of stuff that he does, on that different scale of, I don't know, he has a lot of, whatever, giving back to his friends and giving back to other people. Usually a lot of it's, besides people, he gives back a lot to his friends as creators and stuff like that. But I like watching like Just Nate. There's, the Juan, his name is Juan. He's like real genuine type people, I don't like it when I watch those ones like, oh, this millionaire gives to poor people and stuff like that. Those ones especially always seem contrived, like, fake or whatever. But I like Just Nate is one of my favorite ones, and Juan. There's a couple of them that I like to watch. Anyways, that always makes me happy because always for me personally, it always fills my heart when other people smile. Right? I've always been that way. I always enjoyed knowing that you could change somebody's day, just even if it was just listening to them, right? Different things like that. But anyways, that stuff always fills my heart. Lots of times it puts me in tears too. And then my husband's like, he goes, I told you to stop watching that stuff. And I'm just like, but no, it just is heartbreaking when you're heartwarming, I should say, not breaking, heartwarming. And one day I'll be able to do that on a bigger scale. I know I will, because I think it's so nice. Because again, everyone, we're all just people, all of us. Whether you're a homeless person or not, we're still all people. Oh, a lawsuit is on the way. Yeah, come at me in Canada. Eh? Yeah, I'll hide underneath my bed if I can fit. They show funny TikToks at the end, leaves us happy. Yeah, well, I mean, I've thought about that, like stupid criminal clips and stuff like that. So maybe. Well, I think at the moment, hey, Cordy, I feel like you're cheating on Daisy. Remember, you got to give Daisy her proper time first. Unless that's just an innocent smile. I don't really see it that way. Sin, much love to you as well. But yeah, maybe we'll start looking at doing that. But my problem, Cordy, is this. And if hopefully Adam doesn't see this. My problem is that I have this co-host that he shows up for lives and lives only. He will literally show up at 7:01. And if I'm lucky, it will be 7 o'clock. And that's when co-host shows up. So co-host, if he could contribute more, offer, you know what? He probably would be down for that. I could probably get him to move his ass a little bit. If I said, you know what, dude, go to TikTok, find us some funny clips for the night. I'm sure he might be motivated to do that because it's something to do with, humor and stuff like that. Can't wait for your coverage of the Kansas 3. Yeah, we do love our boots on the ground, don't we? Now, Cordy, I'm not sure. Okay, Cordy, let me ask you. You live in the States, right? United States. I think you can offer that up. I'm pretty sure you're not in Africa right now or anything like that. Pretty sure you're not in Spain or Mexico. You're in the United States, correct? Sometimes. Okay. Well, do you think sometimes when you're there, you could just do some boots on the ground for us? Sonny, I'm in Kentucky. And then I'll just Google some Kentucky cases. And I'll be just like, Cordy, if you could just, before you go to your job, you could just get a little bit of this footage. We could grow huge, Cordy, and maybe then I can put you permanently on the and sometimes Cordy. See? Sometimes and sometimes Cordy on there. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to head off. I'm not sure exactly what my day I'm going to do today, to be honest with you, like that. I don't know. I might do another live later. I might not. I'm not sure, actually. For Delphi and Idaho 4. Do you do boots on the ground for... Wait, hold on. Who do you do... This is a personal conversation between me and Cordy now. Who do you do boots on the ground for? Because I'm pretty sure there's no videos on your channel. So do you do boots on the ground simply for yourself? Just for your own personal knowledge type thing? And like for Idaho 4? Oh, Cordy. Okay. Bye, Miss Drava, Miss Daisy Crazy. Take care, Cordy. You guys have a great one. Thank you, Sin. Thank you, everybody that was watching this video. And enjoy Cordy's live coverage that he did from Boots on the Ground in Africa. You guys take care and have a blessed day.